Caxcudo today is gonna interview Dianne. She's training over here in Gracie Bar, New England. So let's see what Dianne can say to us about Jiu Jitsu. Hi Dianne, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Dianne, let me ask a question. I just want to know first, because a lot of people they feel funny to come to a sport like a martial arts, especially women. We don't see a lot of women doing martial arts to learn how to defend themselves, and especially you, you're not younger, and you choose to do martial arts. So first, how old are you, Dianne?
Right, I'm 64.
64. And what make you come to choose to do martial arts?
Right. Well, originally martial arts because of self-defense, but also once I started doing martial arts, then I enjoyed it, and it motivated me to train. And even on days when I am tired, I don't feel like it, I still feel motivated to keep my training because I keep coming to class. It's good for my my health. If I keep moving my joints and keep working out, it helps me to do other things too. You know, because it's a very healthy kind of environment to do that. As far as self-defense, originally I was training in some stand-up martial arts, and I was worried because sometimes I would end up on the ground. And I asked instructors that only teach stand-up, well, what do you do when you're on the ground? They said, well, don't ever get on the ground. Well, it's impossible, I think, unless you're very good. And even if you're very good, you end up on the ground. So then I found out that when you're on the ground, there are techniques you can use. I thought once you were on the ground, you couldn't use any there wasn't anything you could do, you just give up. But now I find there's just so many techniques and so many ways you can use your body as a lever to counteract what the other person is doing to be able to get out of a bad situation.
Yeah, one good example for those kind of situations that you were saying, Dianne, probably is going to be I don't want to say bad stuff of any sport, any martial art, but just take as example. Boxing, those guys are very good on stand-up fight, very good on punch, and they train a punch, only punch their whole life. They are specialized in punch, and they clinch all the time. So if the two guys who are specialized in punch let they grab each other, that's mean it's something that you should learn how to grab somebody and fight like a wrestling, jiu-jitsu and stuff like this.
Right, I think you have to understand experts in different skills of different areas of martial arts and boxing. Now boxing, they're very good at punching because that's all they do is punch. But if you know how to do takedown and avoid a punch, then you have an advantage as long as you don't try to play their game or underestimate that they have a powerful punch and are very fast and they're very good at it. So you can counteract that though with takedown. And then once they're on the ground, a lot of times, I've pinned some pretty big guys because they don't know how to get out of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You see that in the UFC the other day with the very early UFCs. Nowadays, people know more, but big guys didn't know how to get out of a pin, you know.
Yep.
So that's where advantage can be with the technique or skill over just, you know, trying to use brute strength. Yeah.
Right. And one other thing that we want to know, for women, what's your view about martial art in terms of women? Because you don't see a lot of women in martial art, and I just think they probably the first one who should learn how to defend themselves. What do you think about that as you a woman and you came to do martial art?
Right. I think probably my background is I was always sort of athletic, you know. I rode horses, played baseball, did all those things. But I've also found in seeing other women come in, I've seen some women come into martial arts and be very timid, but once they're taught how to do martial arts, they just grab hold of it and they're very excited about it. One of the things I think that women have problem with is rolling around on the mat with a guy. Of course, we wear an outfit, so it's a little bit different, I think, when you're wearing an outfit or a uniform. But still, I think it also has to do with the people that you train with. Here at Weisback, we have excellent teammates. Most of them are men, but they're always very accommodating and help us to train. And if ever I felt uncomfortable about a particular technique, I could say something. But I think you get past the grappling and hand aspect of it. Oh, gee, I'm rolling around on the ground. And you start learning, oh, I'm here in this position. What can I do from here? Do I have an arm that's free? Do I have a leg that's free? Can I do this? Can I do that? You start thinking about technique. And of course, again, women, I think, are going to end up on the ground unless they're aware of these kinds of things. The more you train, too, the more you can find out ways of moving quickly, moving around, so that if you do go to the ground, you put yourself in a better position. So I think women are hesitant just because they haven't had that experience of wrestling. But you find once women get in and do these kinds of grappling and wrestling and find out it's more of a mind game and it's physical, then they can get excited about learning more and more things about technique and it's very empowering. You know, you get when you can get a technique off on someone that's bigger and stronger, it makes you have more confidence as well.
As I were beginning to talk and I asked about your age, so it's like looks like you don't see like a lot of people over 40 years old doing a lot of sport, involved in sport. So how you feel about that, Dianne? Because like you said, you are 65 years old, right?
Right. I think I have a couple of things about that. One is I think men who are older, their buddies say, "Oh, that's great, you're fighting." You know, women that are older, they're like, "Why do you want to do that?" Because I've spoken with other women martial artists, and they're like, "Yeah, why aren't they encouraging us?" And so we encourage one another, and we say, "Oh, you had that problem too," so we both encourage one another. But the other thing is, I think when you get older, you can't. Say, I started doing judo when I was 47. And I think when you do that, you have to be aware that you're 47. Or you have to be aware that you're 60. You have to be aware that you're 30. You have to be aware if you're training with someone who's 30 or 20. And so I think you can, as you get older, you can train, but you have to make sure you have your conditioning up. You have to make sure that your body, if there's a problem with an injury, take care of yourself. And make sure you work on your flexibility or any area that you think you need to that might cause an injury. But also, I always tell this story. I used to just go with the biggest guy that came in. I would take him to the ground or something. If I didn't even know who they were. And then one day I was at a club that I was very happy with. This is not Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. This is another style, and I was seriously injured. And from that I said, I don't have to go with the biggest, toughest guy that comes in the room. I can still challenge myself. I can still have the same excitement of learning technique and beating someone else or whatever. But I just have to be smart about it. So I think the answer to the question is, because I always talk so much, is as you get older, realize you're older, but don't use it as a mental block to hold you back. Use it as a gauge to say, I'm concerned about this situation, maybe I should not go with this guy. And I usually watch if we have new people, or if I go to a club where I don't know anybody, I watch, I see how well they work cooperatively together. I look to see if they're just trying to just take everybody down and hurt everybody, or if they're trying to work nice and cooperatively with one another. So I think as you get older, you get smarter and you become more aware. And I think you have to take care of yourself. Sometimes in martial arts, people think, well, you got to be a tough guy and fight through the pain and just do all the, no, you have to be smart. The older you get, you have to be smarter at it so that you can continue to train, because if you get an injury, what happens? You can't train for 6 months, you can't train for a year. What fun is that?
Yep, you're right.
So I guess, I don't know if that answers your question, but I think I do yoga for rehab, and I come to class regularly. If you come sporadically, or if you come to class and you miss the warm-ups, it's very important to come to class on time so you get the warm-ups. As you get older, especially, you need time. And sometimes I even come to class earlier so I can warm up my body, because I know my body needs more than someone else. So these are all things that I've learned over time that may help someone else, but there's no reason why you can't be, training and competing. And if you get injured, you could get injured when you're 20. I've seen injuries in, kids, but you learn to rehab, you learn to, just avoid those problems in the future by, conditioning and all the things I've just mentioned about, working with training partners you trust, like Gracie Barra. The main goal of Gracie Barra is improve yourself, make yourself better. It's not about being better than the next guy. You just challenge yourself. Everyone challenges each other. And so it's really not just about fighting. It's about, improving yourself.
Yeah, it's good, Dianna. And also, like, you're a human being, right? We can hurt just walking down the street, we can get hurt. So you can step on a fun way and hurt your feet or whatever.
Exactly.
So just don't be afraid to come and learn some new stuff in your life. Like people just think like they get older, they cannot do anything. Like you say, like just go out and look for something that you can do.
Another thing that happens too is someone mentioned to me once is that as you train and you become more confident, now you walk a different way down the street. You handle yourself differently, and you're more aware. You're paying more attention to other things around you. So maybe bad guys are going to go, oh, that person doesn't look like somebody I want to fight. So
another thing, Dianna, like probably like a lot of people do not know, just talking about age again. So you say like you're 65 years old and you're still competing. You like to be involved with the sport. Tell us something about that, like how that's like get you excited, how change your life. How
well, actually, this is going to sound bad, but I don't like competing, but I think it's really good for me, and I think it's important to challenge yourself. Someone told me once that going to one tournament is the same as coming to 10 classes because it ups your game. It's different. In class, we're cooperating with each other, we're helping each other, we challenge each other, and we have to work hard. But in a competition, the other person wants to beat you. And you want to beat them or even survive. You want to. So it's very quick. So now you're starting to learn how to do things very quickly, and things happen, and you go, what happened there? Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. So it's a very different challenge, and plus your heartbeat's going, I have to control myself, I have to concentrate, I have to focus, what do I think about? Think about something, think about nothing, what do I do? So you learn to, all the things that you've learned in class should happen automatically. You can't say, oh gee, I think I'm going to do this technique. Things happen. You start out and bing, bing, bing. So it's different, and so even though I'm like, oh, I should go to the tournament, but I go because it's a good thing. And then after the tournament I go, that was great, I have to do that again.
It's a great feeling, huh?
Yeah, so, and everybody has those feelings, everybody has. Well, I think, oh gee, should I, shouldn't I? When I get in there, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, just do your best. What can you do? You just do your best, and you win, you lose. Some things, sometimes you think, oh, I did this really good thing. I may have lost, but this really good thing that I always had trouble with, I got it that time. So
it's just like a fun time. I guess a lot of people don't realize that. Like the tournament's a fun time.
I always say about just training. The bad news is you know, there are so many techniques. Can you ever learn them all? You can never learn them all. But the good news is there are so many techniques you can never learn them all, because there's always a challenge. There's always something new to learn. There's always something that you haven't seen. Some little young person could do some technique you've never seen before, that it just happened to them. They just went, you go, look at that. Someone may teach you something, you may teach someone something. Always something new, always something.
Right. Diana, just one more thing. I just want to know one thing. How was your feeling? Because like you are competing, and like you just explained already why you're competing. But one thing is, you wasn't one of those editions of Gracie Mag, and how was the feeling to like man, I'm 64 years old by the time, or 63 years old, and I was competing. They put picture of me on a Gracie Mag, like on a magazine. How was the feeling? Let us know about.
I was really surprised, because I guess I keep forgetting I'm 64, because those were tough fights. Those fights I had, and they were much younger than I was. What, 40 years younger than me or something. One woman was a police officer from the Bronx. I said, "Oh my goodness, she knows how to street fight. I'm in trouble." And I was exhausted after that, but. So I guess, and people came up, "Oh, I want to take my picture with you." Why? I just had a fight. And so I keep thinking, what's the big deal? But maybe it's a big deal. But then people say, well, this inspires me. And then I thought about some other people that inspired me. You know, I was at a tournament once, and I said, "Oh, I'm too old for this." And the guy next to me said, "Well, how old are you?" And he was in a competition too. So I'm 72. And I was 60 at the time. I go, "Oh man, he's 72 and he thinks he's not too old." So everybody helps everybody along the way. You know, everybody helps everybody get better. And so, yeah, so I was surprised, and I guess I still am not sure what the story is there, what the big deal is, but I guess it's a big deal.
Yeah, I know how you feel about that because I competing too, and like sometimes I've been at a tournament like a referee and competing, and I saw like some guys over there. I'm 45 years old. I'm gonna be in December 27, and I saw some guys over there like 67, 70 years old. They just a brand new black belt. That means they begin to train jiu-jitsu probably 5 years ago, and that's like inspired me a lot too, because I go near to them, it's time to talk to them, and I say, man, I hope when I'm 70 I'm still here competing. So that's a good feeling.
That's what I'm saying. They are inspiring me, because I keep thinking, oh, you know, what happens, something happens, people will say, "Oh, you were too old anyway, why were you doing that?" You know, and I think, oh, but these guys are older than I am. So maybe when I get their age, you know, maybe that's when I have to quit. But I don't know. So people, yeah. So that's good to hear. You know.
Yeah, it's a funny how people say something like this, like, "Man, you're they're old, and like, why are you doing this?" Like, it's like it's not want to be rude about, but looks like you should tell them back, like, yeah, I just don't want to do what you're doing. 7 years old, right? I don't want to be sitting on my couch and like, life is gone. I don't do anything anymore. Like, I keep in life, I keep going.
Right. I think people always need something to motivate them. And I think if some people are motivated by lifting weights and having great muscles, you know. And some people are motivated by just whatever interests them. They like to ride bikes, so they ride in, you know, great, you know, races, or they run, and that they get excited about that. Well, I get excited about martial arts and training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's what keeps me moving. On the days when I'm like, I don't know if I want to get up this morning. It's cold, you know, but I enjoy it. So I say, well, you know, if I keep doing this, if I keep going every day and showing up, I'll get better.
Right. Diana, you live in around Worcester, right?
Yeah, Westboro.
Yeah, and like I know like they have like other places over there. Like you drive all the way here. Some people say they don't like to drive far to go to nowhere, like more than 15 minutes and stuff like this. What make you choose to come all the way down to Gracie Barra and train over here with us?
Well, actually, when I was looking, I was looking for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place. I went to all the places in the area. And then I looked on the web, and actually I came down, I talked to you, I saw the class. I looked on the web, I saw some of your competition videos, and I said, oh, that guy's really good. And I said, and look at his technique, look how he moves. And in class, look how respectful he is. He's a very strong, powerful guy. A lot of technique, he could just do anything he wanted to his opponent, but he's also very kind and compassionate. And that's what I look for in a leader. And so that's why I come here, because I know that I can learn those skills, and it's not about me being a tough guy or walking around tough. I can be comfortable in just learning the skills and their real technique, not just, how tough can I be or how big can I be in strength. So that's why I came here, because of what you do and how you compete and how you run the class, how you treat people, all of those things. And then, of course, I met Draculino after we've been training for a year, and I'm like, oh man, he's great too.
Yeah, you speak about Draculino, I'm trying to do over here what Draculino did in my state, bring the same feeling to all of my students, because I beginning to train Jiu-Jitsu to different people, different teacher, but I end up training with Gracie Barra when Draculino moved to my state. And I just trying to bring the same knowledge, the same environment that Draculino brought to us in Belo Horizonte. And I just trying to do the best as I can to bring the whole technique to you guys. And what Draculino did over there and the way he's competing and stuff like that inspired me too. And that's what I want to bring to my students. That's why I keep competing. I love compete, but another thing, I want my students to see the same thing that Draculino showed me, and probably that's going to inspire them too.
Yeah, and I think some of the other clubs may not be, to me this seems like more of a pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Some of the other clubs, maybe they have some judo that they kind of do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they call it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's not. So yeah.
Right. All right. And it was good to sit over here and talk to you today. That was a quick interview with Dianne before the class started. So now let's go have a fun, all right?
All righty.
Thank you, Dianne, for your